Yeah, hey everybody, it's Dr. Meri Crowley, and I am excited today to have both Cathy O'Brien and Scott McKay, Patriot Streetfighter, on the show today. We're going to be talking to you about some things happening in Vegas, including an event that is going to be coming on Friday, March 8th in the evening and all day Saturday from 9 till 10. And you're going to want to come to that. But we'll talk about that and some other things that have to do with Epstein files, what's being exposed. It's going to be an incredible program today. But before I do that, let's roll the commercial for Mike Lindell and MyPillow.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Wow, I've got to get some MyPillows. Go to MyPillow.com, put in my promo code Meri. Right in the middle of America, MERI, you're going to get a really great deal. And you know what? This sale has really been blowing out. A lot of people have been getting his stuff. It's really awesome. So anyway, good to have you guys on the show today. Let's put up the flyer really quick so we can get that out of the way. You guys at the Ahern Hotel, a lot of, Scott, you said you've been there quite a bit. I think, I don't know if you've been there, Cathy, but Don Ahern, who's actually a really good friend of Trump, he literally took the, I think, Chinese Dragon Theater or something, and he made a beautiful boutique hotel. There's no gambling. So if you think you're going to come and gamble, you can do that at another hotel. But it's going to be an amazing event. It's my 8th Open the Heavens. It's going to be Friday evening from 6:30 to 9:30 on Friday evening, May 8th, and all day Saturday on May 9th from 9 until 10. We've got Cathy O'Brien, of course, Scott McKay, 107, Sheila Holm. Now, Juan isn't sure if he's going to be there, but he'll come in via Zoom if he can't. But then we've got Louis Herms also. He's amazing. Dr. Scott Young, Larry Ballard. We've got, so many people that are going to be at this event and some amazing people. So please, you can go to my website, mericrowley.com, register for free or get your VIP. It's only $177, which includes a buffet banquet lunch, VIP seating, and also meet and greet with the speakers for a good hour before we eat. So you're going to want to come. Scott was there at the one at Champions Church in Orlando, Florida in December, I think, of 23. And he brought his Cinderella bus. It was actually pretty cool. Juan was sitting outside the bus signing, I think, magazines until 2 a.m. So you can take it off now. Yeah, wasn't Juan there like till 2 a.m?
Signing? Yeah, he was. In fact, what was the name of the church?
It was called Champions Church.
Champions Church, and that is in Winter Haven, Florida. Unbelievable Patriots. I'm going to give a shout out. What was the pastor's name and his wife?
Pastor Nolan.
Yeah. And he reached out to me after that event, and he said, Scott, I just want you to know, sent me a text, said, we always have your back. And that was just such an endearing thing to get, in our movement when, we're so fortunate because we've all been able to travel the country in the last number of years and meet the beautiful patriot community in the country. And it's the lifeblood of the movement. And so just being at these events with these people, it's why we do what we do. It's why I get out of bed every day. And, it's like put my feet in the floor, like, oh, here we go again, another one of these days. But you just keep doing it because the people are so magnificent who are in the battle, who are coming out, who are, they're taking action, they're engaging. We, the people, these are the people that understand our Constitution. The very first words, for whatever reason, were we the people. And for whatever reason, they're this big on a document at the top. Why weren't they somewhere else? Why wasn't some other words? those are the people that understand why they wrote this thing so big, we the people. And it's great to be around that vibration of these people, because they're coming out, because they're showing us, you guys are helping take the country back, and we're going to be the ones that do it. We are the foot soldier. And that's why these events are just awesome. And I get to see you guys.
Yeah. Well, and Kathy, you've been at, I know you were at the one down in Winter Haven at Champion Church. You were at the San Diego one. So when the people get to come in, you know, the VIP, because they get to spend time. I know that when in Champions Church, Scott, people take pictures, they're in there. I mean, it's not like you might not ever see them or talk to them if they're not VIP, but they're there exclusively, you know, with you guys, and then they get to eat. So it's really affordable. A lot of these events are $300, $400, $500, you know, for same deal. So I felt God say, keep it reasonable and also make it free. We do take up, I am a nonprofit 501c3. So we do take up an offering, but people don't have to give. They can give if they want it. They don't have to give if they don't. So it makes it fair. Some people don't have the money to come. They don't have the $300, $400, $500 tickets so to come in. So I just felt it's going to make it good for everyone. So Kathy, you know, I'm excited to see you. And, you know, we're going to show my film Freedom Cry, that actually I've shown it every single one of them. I came out with this film, Freedom Cry, in 2022, and I've been showing it all over the country. But when I came back from Thailand, Scott, you might not know this story, went to Thailand with my videographer, and, you know, in Pattaya and Bangkok, and there was some amazing footage I got. But when I came home, God told me, I felt him very strongly say, I don't want you to show what's happening in Thailand. He wanted me to see it because it's the #1 sex tourist destination in the country. Mostly people, you know, from Europe and America and Australia, and they visit it there. But he said, I want you to show what's happening here. And so, Kathy, your story, for anybody who might not know, they should, but they might not know. Can you give us a little overview of your story and how this might tie in with Vegas? Because, I mean, there's a lot that goes on in Vegas, a lot of trafficking.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a survivor of CIA MK Ultra mind control. I've been speaking out for over 35 years on mind control, the deep state globalist perpetrators, and healing from mind control, because I'm one of few who survived back in the 80s, and was able to heal from within myself. And because I healed from within myself using the tools that we've been blessed with all along, free of outside input, I'm not triggerable. I evolved with the knowledge that's our defense against mind control. When people have that knowledge, when you don't have to gain it from experience, you can learn it and just educate yourself. But when we have that knowledge, it's like understanding how a magic trick works. The spell is broken once you know the secret. So I've been speaking out and telling that secret for over 35 years, and I'm going to keep doing it because people are waking up and they're wanting answers. They're wanting to understand their own mind-brain function, how they're being manipulated, what the ultimate agenda is of these globalists. And having been around for 35 years now speaking out, and the first 30 years of my life were spent under MK Ultra mind control, deep in the Washington, D.C. swamp, among these perpetrators who steal elections, use drug and human trafficking across open borders to fund their globalist agenda, and who are using mind control to usher in this slave society agenda. So I got a deep look into the plan for all of us. And now, all these years later, it's almost laughable how much control they've lost. Their whole plan has spun out of control. People are waking up. The Great Awakening is real. And that's their greatest fear. Because when people have their free thought, they have their free will soul expression. When they have soul expression, they can align with that divine within, gather the strength of the human spirit and the infinite power of love, and live life's purpose, free and clear above and beyond their satanic, evil agenda. we win. We were born with a victory inside of us, and more people are waking up to remember who they are, why they're here, and claiming that victory. So this is an exciting time for me to be speaking out. I'm busy. I'm so very busy because people are wanting to know how I healed, how they can heal, because whether it was torturous MK Ultra mind control or indoctrination in a school system, being subjected to occult mind control, whatever level of mind manipulation people have endured, they're realizing they don't have to stay in that mode. They can free themselves of it and live the love they are, just like I do. So what an amazing time to be alive and have voice. And I'm excited where we all go from here.
What an amazing story. I mean, your own father pretty much was the one who sold you into this. So we won't get into it too deep. But listen, Scott, so you're hearing, Cathy, you've seen her, you know her. What an amazing woman. But you're an amazing guy. And many of you that are listening today are amazing because you've stepped up to the plate. You said, we're not going to do this anymore. Hollywood, I'm out here in La La Land. And, it's like we're battling to build a studio to rival Disney called Destiny. And, it's just like the Rocky, if you look back in history, Scott, this year at the 250-year anniversary of America, the Rocky movie came out 50 years ago, like looking back in history. And I mean, that one movie inspired a culture. Mm-hmm. And so we can inspire people. They've controlled the narrative for so long. What have you seen, Scott? Like you were on doing interviews, traveling around in regards to the trafficking. Now these Epstein files are being exposed, and so much stuff has come out in the media.
When I first launched this machine, it was a radio show at first, and it was really from that was it right there. It was it, because I come from the world, the elected politics and all that stuff, which I walked away from 2 decades ago when I realized I'm never going to get to the United States Senate because I'm too honest, and these people are criminals, and it'd make sure I never get there. And when I realized it was a crime syndicate, 16 years of my life just got washed away in an instant decision. So I've had a bit of an attitude about it since then, because my quote unquote thought my purpose and mission was going to be that. But this mission's better, because this mission is fighting actually for we the people, the machine that has enslaved them, which is government, which is Washington, D.C., the Khazarian Mafia stronghold, which is a military wing of their cabal, just like London. The city of London is their financial arm, and the Vatican's their spiritual arm. One of the largest trafficking organizations on the planet, the Vatican, connected to the royal families. All these things basically caused me to have the proverbial volcano open up in my skull one day, pouring lava all over my apartment. I'm like, that is it. If nobody's going to say this, then I'm going to say it myself, and it's going to be brutal, and they're going to kill me probably within a year. I told my family, I warned them, don't cry for me, but I'm only here for one reason. I'm not living on this planet knowing that these sadistic, satanic pedophile elites, politicians at the highest level in both parties, Hollywood, big tech CEOs, royal families, Vatican, you name it, Hollywood. You don't get to these positions. You don't become a billionaire in this country or world unless you are willing to take the blood oath. And when I learned that, there was absolutely no stop. I'm literally begging these ice holes to shoot me, because I'm just saying, you're not going to stop this now. The cat's out of the bag. But what I will say, folks, now that many of you who are watching this, obviously, you are the lifeblood. You are the patriots. You wouldn't be sitting here. And when people discover what their enslavement is, people rise. And then we take it back. No. When people discover it, patriots rise, and then we take it back. Too many people out there in the country are still too comfortable. They still go back to watching NFL football, watching pro sports. They watch the Super Bowl, the largest trafficking event in this country every year, and they go back to the same old BS. And I call them out here on my show, whatever. I'm not letting it go. How dare you? How dare? Do you really think, people, that the tide of enslavement and child satanic ritual abuse is going to recede? Do you think it's ever going to recede? Does anything stay static? This world is moving one direction or another, and whoever's pushing it in that direction is the direction it goes in. So if people sit back still and they continue to participate in anything that is either sustaining or perpetuating their machine, it's butchering kids every year in their satanic ritual abuse machine, it's, if you think that you're going to remain untouched, you're going to learn a hard lesson that people learned over decades. We would have never heard about this stuff until Franklin County, Iowa, was it Iowa? Yeah, with the whole Franklin County thing when they stole Johnny, whatever his name was, and it hit the Bush White House.
Johnny Goss. Johnny Goss.
Johnny Goss. Yeah, nobody really believed it. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I thought it was very disconcerting to me. But has that tide receded since then? No, it's massive now. Massive. Why? Because we, the people, knowing it, just move on with life. And I'm calling out to Christians. You stop selling yourself that Christ was a sheep. If he was, you would already be in the satanic pit of hell. He was a warrior. He was an ass kicker. He went in the temple. He's going up against the synagogue of Satan, the most powerful force on the planet. One man right at him, beat their asses in a temple, smashed their tables, threw them out, and told people, don't listen to them. They're the synagogue of Satan. God is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. That was the death blow to them if he lived, and they had to kill him for it. They had to kill him because everything that we know about what they're doing to kids today, he knew it back then. That's what the synagogue of Satan has always done. And what did he do? He gave his life for it. He gave his life. What are you and I doing for the exact same problem that he gave his life for to change the world? If we continue to support their machine, do you think that the Christ consciousness is going to visit you and bring the graces of the new earth to you? I dare say not. We earn our way into heaven, whatever you see that to be, the promised land, into that frequency, whatever that is. I don't really care what you call it or what you call God. It is, and that's it. End of story. There's no debate on that. Frame it however you want. But if you expect those good graces to hit you, when you have conscious knowledge that this is happening to millions of kids every single year, and you just go about your life, I'm glad it ain't me. I wouldn't expect a whole lot. I really wouldn't.
Well, and just going back to, I interviewed Noreen Gosh in LA, many years ago, and she told me this story after Johnny got abducted on his paper route. Pretty much the police were in on it. They found out that the police were in on it eventually. But this was Des Moines, Iowa. This was like, this is, you look at corn and baseball and Des Moines, the middle of the country. Well, basically, after 12 years being on America's Most Wanted 4 times, there was different things on the bathroom stall saying, I'm Johnny Gosh, I'm alive. There was a dollar bill, I'm Johnny Gosh, I'm alive, that they found. But one day she was on a Lisa Gibbons show. She shared her story and she said, Johnny, your father and I are no longer married. My address is in the Des Moines phone book. Johnny, please come home. 3 months later, Cathy and Scott all of a sudden knock on the door in the middle of the night. She goes to the door and looks out the people, and she hears the voice of her son, she hasn't seen in over 12 years now. He's in his 20s. Said, Mom, it's me, Johnny. And he comes and he's with another boy about his age. He comes, sits down. He got abducted by an elite pedophile ring that goes up to the highest levels of government, entertainment, and business. And so he basically said, I have to stay hidden because they'll kill me. This has been going on all over the world. And so we, the people, as Scott was just saying, we have to take action. And the number one way, and then I'll go back to Cathy, that is fueled, if you can believe this or not, is through pornography. If the porn fuels the trafficking, and also what also fuels it is if, it's mostly the men that are the purchasers. There's women traffickers. We know that. But it's mostly the men. They think, every girl that I've interviewed always says a guy will come to them with their phone. So this is what fuels it. I'll finish with this. God literally told me, tell the men they're not a pimp, a pirate, or a pawn, but a prince and a king. That's who you were created to be, not pimps or pirates. And so, Cathy, going over to what you just heard Scott say and what I was just talking about, you've lived this road. What would you say about the pornography?
Well, it's definitely a big part of the issue, but the cause of the pornography is childhood sexual abuse. Because when children are sexually abused prior to age 5 while the brain is still forming, it creates a dissociative identity disorder. There's no continuity of thought. Suggestibility is heightened and sexuality is heightened, not in the terms of that people would think of sexuality, but rather it puts it in, blasts it into a part of survival mode, where sexuality becomes survival and a means of surviving. So if anyone chooses to go into the sex industry to earn their living, it's because of childhood sexual abuse that caused that disorder in the brain to begin with. My father's sexual abuse began with me in infancy, before I could think to know what he was doing was wrong. But my brain knew and shut down those neuron pathways around it. Well, my brain knew I was enduring pain and suffocation of his abuse. What happened with that pain and suffocation of the oral aspect of what he was doing to me, it put my sexuality into an area of eating and drinking and absolute survival. So when we understand our own mind-brain function, what happens in the brain of a child who's being raped in any capacity, then we start to understand what caused the porn industry, why anybody is even involved in that, or any kind of sex industry, if it's strip clubs or what else. No one is a willing participant. That is not natural to our being. It's not who we are. That is the result of childhood sexual abuse. So we've got to get to the causation of that and educate people as to their own mind-brain function. People are thinking now that pedophilia is a sexual preference. It has nothing to do with sexual preference. It has to do with a control mechanism. The pedophile agenda is a mind control agenda intended to shut down neuron pathways in the brain, make us suggestible and compliant, make a society that's easily led. Ultimately, that's what we're being conditioned for, all of us, with the pushing of this pedophile agenda. So it's imperative, number one, that we understand our own mind-brain function again. That information was buried under national security since 1947. That is our birthright information. I have released it in PTSD, Time to Heal. That birthright information is right there for everybody to remind them that we have it within us to heal. We have resiliency of body, mind, and spirit. We need to understand our own mind-brain capacity, so we have a defense against mind control, but above all, so we understand the devastation that it does to the brain of a child, to rape that child, to what it does to the body. All of that is absolutely intolerable. We've got to have that education back to understand what really happens. And I think until people start educating themselves with that information, until we can get that back into education, we've got to jump ahead to some form of justice, some form of punishment and consequence for raping a child. And I'm pleased to see the state of Alabama took the first step towards making it a death penalty for anyone who rapes and traffics a child. And we got to have harsh consequences on the other end. Many other states are picking that up. It's not going to happen nationally because we don't have a justice system nationally. But on a state level, we've got to make harsh penalty for that, so that if someone thinks, well, this is just a sexual preference, then they look at the penalty for it. They go, whoa, why the harsh penalty? Maybe they'll start to think that they don't know it all and look into it more. We need to go all in from every direction to educate people, stop people from perpetuating this pedophile mind control agenda, and start protecting our children. Our children are counting on us, and it's up to each and every one of us. It's why we're here at this moment in time. Protect the children.
Well, Scott, Vegas is a place that a lot of people go for conventions, when they're there. And then often the old saying is, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Because, I think people think, well, I can just do this. No one's going to know. They'll go to the strip clubs. They'll go here. They'll go there. But most of these girls, because I've interviewed many of the girls that were strippers, and then eventually they'll start getting lured into other things and eventually into prostitution or trafficking. They say that nobody wants to be stripping. Most of them are on drugs or high. they're whatever. And what happens with some of this stuff, in particular with what people watch, because men are very visual, is that women become objects and they objectify women instead of looking at them as human beings. So what would you have to say to that, Scott, to the men? Because I know you travel all over the country, and we're not trying to shame men. 30% of women now are involved with pornography and things. The detrimental effect it has on the brain, the things that it stimulates, is very highly addictive. And they're trying to get kids addicted at 8 years old.
Yeah, this is probably counter to most people that not most, a lot of guys that I've known over the course of my life go to strip clubs. I've been to strip clubs probably maybe half a dozen times in my life, and you're younger, and I got to tell you, I'm the worst person always to be in a strip club. First of all, my soul was built differently from the time I was young. And I'm the worst to be there because you're not getting one single dollar off me. You're not going to, and I know that's their game. They come up and they do their thing and to get money out of your pocket. And most guys be like, oh my God, she likes me, and blowing money. I found that the most absurd thing. And that's why I lived in Vegas. I never even put a quarter in a slot machine. I lived in Summerlin for 7 years. But those things, for whatever reason, never appeal to me. I can see the big picture. Like, they're going to drain your bank account. And plus, I have such a competitive personality. If I actually won a couple hands at a blackjack table in 6 months, I'd be underneath a bridge living in a cardboard box because I know I have got the win. But so none of that ever appealed to me. And I even when I lived in Los Angeles, people go to nightclubs and all that. That's the thing. I never did that stuff. I think I did 2 or 3 times when I first got there, but I could never stand it. And thankfully, my soul was built completely different. I have 4 sisters too, when it comes to women. I've always been a little tepid to, move right into, that aspect of relationship, because if it doesn't work out, somebody's feelings are hurt, and it's really especially hard on women. I saw this my whole life with my sisters, and they were locked down by the general. They didn't have many opportunities at all, but it always had an impact on me of the emotional damage that, from a breakup or a one-nighter or whatever. And I don't know why I have that. I'm glad I do. I really do. I remember one time we had a party at New Year's Eve party, and this beautiful girl in our area, she had a thing for me. We have a hotel room. And so we're in this room, and I know I'm completely a full disclosure guy. And so she's in her panties, in her bra, whatever. And I think I'm 27 or 28. I can't remember. But then she said to me, is this just going to be a one-night thing, or we're not going to talk after this? And I was dead honest with her. I said, well, to be honest with you, I really don't see anything happening past this. I just want to be fair and let you know. That ended my night. My buddies are like, are you out of your effing mind? You're such a fool. And I'm like, you know what, for me, I mean, I can't explain it to them, but I could not have her walking away with this pain, knowing that she was just used, for that purpose. So I don't get the strip. That's just how I'm wired. I don't get all that stuff, the whole strip club thing. So I don't even know how to comment on that, because, men would be like, you're such a scumbag, talking about we're losers going to strip clubs. I'm sorry, but I will say,
I think, and maybe that was the
you have been programmed for this, guys. And again, we all like to look at beautiful women. We are programmed by the Matrix for this. They took the most powerful, angelic, divine force, which is the sexual experience in the human realm, that is the real perpetuator or facilitator of this thing called love, that absolute bonding union. And they turned it into, well, at the level we're talking about today, blood sport. But more importantly than anything else, they programmed us to be this way, that sex is the number one thing. And that's why, again, disclosing myself, when I've dated people in the past for a long time, that stuff doesn't happen in my world for a while. And I explain it to them. The girls are like, what's wrong with this guy? He's not putting a move on me. And I'd say, well, because I don't want to cloud the reason why I'm with you. Because if sex is really good, quite honestly, I'll be putting up with more bullshit than I'd ever put up with, because I want to get laid. So therefore, I don't get a chance to really know who you are, or you know me. And most women are like, wait a minute, he's rejected me. And then they come on harder and stronger. I'm like, no, it's not that. You can't have, and again, nobody taught me this stuff. It's just a divine ordination. I figured out over the decades, why am I like this? What the hell's wrong with me? Not like all my other friends are. But for some reason, I protected myself from being that guy in any level in my world. But I understand how it is with men because I am one, and I've been around all of my friends, and I just happen to be uniquely protected on a soul level. I've turned away so many opportunities in my world. People like, the guy must be gay, or he's intolerable, he's not, all this stuff. Say what you want. But for some reason, I could feel that when I was younger, that this would damage my soul. And I'm happy. I mean, I thought there was something wrong with me, and I'm weird or whatever, probably am in that respect, but I feel where that power comes from. Now, don't mistake me. I got the sex drive of a Tyrannosaurus. I can sin with the best of them. I'm not perfect. I'm all those things that humans are when we're under the influence of this matrix. But if you stop and think about this for a second, men, when you have a broken heart, and I've seen men, not really be for their women or wives what they should be. And I've had friends, I've warned them, if you keep behaving this way with her, somebody's going to come along and they're going to treat her with respect. They're going to listen to her. They're going to make her feel special. And you can think she would never cheat on you. I told a friend of mine, can't mention his name, one of many, this is going to happen. Somebody is going to want to listen to her and value what she has to say. And guess what's going to happen? That love she wants, boom. Now you're going to be stunned because how could you cheat on me? Well, that's how. You got to understand the spiritual realm that we were created in, thrust into this. If you ignore it and you never, ever contemplate what drives this thing, what drives you to have a relationship with any woman in any way, shape, or form, you are going to gamble that away. I've watched so many men do this. And then when the woman leaves, what happens? I see the devastation. They are absolutely reduced to rubble. And like, man, I saw it coming. How could you not pay attention to this? I'm saying this because this is the power of this sex thing. It is unbelievably powerful fuel for the divine extension of the human soul throughout all fit quantum realms. It's that special, that powerful. And you have to at least acknowledge that, to say, well, why would I protect this in any way, shape, or form? That's the only reason why I can say, if I'm different from many of the guys I've always hung around. My dad probably ingratiated this in my soul, because he'd be around buddies when I was a kid, and guys would say, oh, look, hey, Sam, look at her, blah, blah, blah. My dad was like this. Oh, no. He was so square. Oh, no. He was that guy. He never would look at another woman outside of my mother with an intention. And men undress women all the time. That's what men do. They undress women with their eyes, right? My dad, that's all I know. The squarest, most honorable guy in that realm that I've ever known in my whole life. And so I don't know why I'm throwing all this out there that I'm supposed to.
Well, and that was good. You're hearing a perspective of Scott. And this is, at the event in Vegas. See, well, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and everybody has, I believe that God created, of course, he created intimacy, he created sex, he created it between a man and a woman, not Adam and Steve. People that have a different preference, that is that you have the right to do that. But let me tell you this, what's going to happen in Vegas, because I'm going to go back to you, Cathy, in a minute. We are going to come together, and we are literally going to come together in unity and community. There's going to be worship there. There's going to be speakers. I mean, Scott McKay, I honor him because he is a Patriot Streetfighter. And he goes out there and says, some of you might not agree with his ideology. It's okay, because we can agree to disagree. I believe that God created, sex for marriage, and you wait till your marriage. That's personally the way I believe. I believe that our country is coming back to a great awakening, where if you study history in times, there's been great awakenings where the whole culture shifts, because all of a sudden the God starts purifying their heart, and it becomes this awakening. There's a movie that just came out called A Great Awakening that I just saw last week, and all about George Whitefield and what happened before the Revolutionary War. And 80% of the colonies became to know Christ because of this guy that came out and he preached, and it so touched their hearts that it shifted their hearts and it shifted the culture. That's what we need, is a heart shift. And that's what's going to shift the culture. Now, Cathy, thank you for Scott for sharing your heart on that. Cathy, when Mark found you you were getting ready to literally, they were going to take you to Bohemian Grove and they were literally going to sacrifice you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. They were going to make sure that I died with the secrets that they didn't want to have revealed. And they wanted to make sure that I was gone. At 30, they figured I was pretty much used up anyway, since I'd been used as a sex slave and a courier and delivering messages to and from government leaders and everything. And they wanted to just make sure that I died. I'd been exposed to a lot of perpetrators, the operations I was used in and the people I was used by, including the Bushes and the Clintons, are all named in my 1995 testimony for Congress, Transformation of America. So when Mark Phillips came along, my whole life had been nothing but trauma and horror and control and abuse. And I didn't know good people even existed in the world anymore. And so when Mark came along, I had a lot to learn about love. I had a lot to learn about trust. I had a lot to learn about the goodness of humanity that had been no part of my life. And when Mark rescued Kelly and me from the farm where we were being held captive, he also rescued our cows and horses and guineas and chickens and dogs and cats and rescued all these animals. And because I didn't have any free thought, I'd been blasted into more primitive parts of the brain. We hear about these survivors. Even the Epstein files now are coming out with the heightened intuitions, the clairvoyance, remote viewing, the telepathic capabilities, and these other aspects of the brain that we all have. We don't have to be traumatized to access, and we've been blessed with it all along. But I had these other heightened senses and was very connected to my horse. My horse would come up to me and stand in front of me and take me wherever I needed to go on the farm. No bridle, no saddle, no words, nothing. It was just all interconnection. She'd bring me back unless my handler came up. My handler she knew it was abusive and she'd run from him. So when Mark came along to rescue us, my horse walked up to Mark, looked him in the eye, and loaded herself on the horse trailer. That told me everything I needed to know about trust. If my horse could trust him, I sensed that I could. And so I listened to Mark from that point. I began healing through the methods in PTSD Time to Heal, those birthright healing mechanisms. He reminded me of those, and I started healing. And as I started healing, I was so in love with Mark. I mean, he is so handsome. He was our hero. He did it. I mean, why wouldn't I? He wouldn't have anything to do with me. Even though I was had a heightened sexuality and everything else, it was all the more reason he didn't have anything to do with me. And he told me I had to heal first. I had to know who I am to have something to give in a relationship. I had a very strong sense that we were soulmates and divinely intended to be together. I had that aspect added to it. So I had to bring it all together in its fullness through my own healing, reclaiming my free thought, free will, soul expression, my ability to align with the divine within and gather the strength of the human spirit and live my life's purpose. It was on that level that I found out who I am, why I'm here. I remembered my purpose and chose to live the love that I am and carry that forward. When I did that, Mark and I fell in love. When we fell in love, I got the most profound experience of what it means to be in love and share passion on such a soul level. He was as though he was the first time for me, in spite of all that I'd experienced my whole life since infancy. It's a radically different thing because what I experienced then was in that survival mechanism. And it's not about survival when you're in love. It's about sharing. It's about emerging. It's about something so divine and beautiful. It's about what human procreation is all about in creating that family atmosphere, the love, the unity, the peace, the purpose, the joy. All of it is so much more than what the sexualization, shallow nonsense has created in society. So when you look at it from that level, it's like people need to remember not only who they are and why they're here, but they need to remember what love is. They need to remember what a relationship is. It's not about, oh, you turn 20, you get married, you do this, you have, it's not about any of that. Cut the rules out of it.
Yep.
Let it happen, let it flow. Meet your soulmate. Be with that one person where you can be 100% of who you are, and they're 100% who they are. You don't have to agree on everything, but you also don't have to change each other. There's no push-pull. You get to be the full experience. When we get back to that, we're going to be bringing something back into the family relationship that everybody's needing. And they need to remember that that's what love is all about. That's what sex is really all about. It's vastly different from what we have been conditioned for generations now.
Now, Cathy, you and Mark got married. You were married, and you went before Congress. I mean, you wrote a book. You did a lot together, and you really made a difference. It's also finding somebody that has a lot of the same goals and interests. But it's interesting here. You probably had, sex with, I don't know how many hundreds of men, but yet it was just sex with a union. When you became married to Mark, you were intimacy. You were, you were one, and you shared spirit, soul, and body. So it's a whole different experience. Completely. Yeah. So now Mark passed away how long ago?
He passed away in 2017. And that's when I decided to carry our shared life's purpose forward and honor him in every breath, to be able to stay strong in all that he taught me and reminded me, and make a positive difference in the world in light of that. So it's living the love I am still. It's living my life's purpose. It's carrying all the healing that he taught me forward. And with that, somewhere along this journey, this beautiful path that's unfolding, I truly hope that it brings about the importance of love in a relationship again, so that people remember, because it seems people have forgotten so much of the beauty of all that. And we need that reminder, because love is the most powerful force in the universe, and we all need it back in our lives, and in the most beautiful way, so that even if we are without our soulmate, like I am right now, we're still fulfilled in who we are and our purpose, and strong in that love, and that love lives forever. So we need to understand love as a force, an energy force, rather than an emotion. It's a divine gift within us all. It's who we are meant to be. When we live the love we are, we're living purpose.
So Cathy, where can people, find? I know you talked about you have several books. One of them, of course, I have all your books, but one of them is the Healing from PTSD. It's not just, if you were trafficked. There's a lot of people that have had trauma, even just going through what we went through the last 5-6 years, wearing masks and not getting on planes, and this and that, and having to fight just to not take a jab and everything else. So they can get all your books on that website, Cathy?
Yes, on trance-formation.com. PTSD Time to Heal is posted there in ebook form, if people, so they can have it now. Everybody needs the information. We all need to remember our own mind-brain function. My other books are there: Align with the Divine, Resolutions, Transformation of America, Access Denied for Reasons and National Security, my movie, Trance, all of that's there. All my books are also on Audible. I read them myself to preserve the integrity of information. So I encourage people to look into it and reclaim their free thought, free will, align with that divine, start living their love.
Wow. Well said. Well, Scott, men are warriors, and, men are going off into battle. They're doing, we just honor men. I think men are awesome. And I think throughout the last, 20 years, men have been really, the culture has tried to make men feel less than, and wimpify them and be the soy boys and stuff. And that's why we honor you, Scott, because you're a man that stood up and really fought. So what would you say in your closing, just this, I know you have to be on another call in about 10 minutes. So what would you say to the viewers today, Scott?
I'd probably say that I absolutely love my toxic masculinity. Never ran from it. I project it everywhere I can as a counterbalance to their nonsense. What I will say is, folks, look at the title of Cathy's book, How Transformation Spelled, so you understand transformation. They formed the mindset of America. They put us in a dream spell, a trance. If you think you're not programmed, explain to me why you cannot even go pump gasoline at a pump now without them projecting some screen, selling you some BS, trying to get you to buy a product or whatever. Every TV show, every movie, every billboard, and now they're digital. So now you can't even look in any direction. Another projection of some message of what they want to buy or some BS narrative or whatever. Everywhere you turn and look, they're capturing your eyes and your sound and your mind and making sure the only thing that gets in here is what they allow to get in, because they've got you. It's a tractor beam that locks into your mind. These people understand psychology and neurochemistry better than, and they all have PhD levels of understanding how to capture that brain. I stopped watching, I didn't watch TV for 25 years up until probably, I don't know, 8-10 years ago. It's always political nonsense, as a junkie. And then when this whole Great Awakening came on, we started this. I stopped watching even for the first time in 30 years, I had no idea who was running in the 2022 election cycle. Any, midterms, people would have me come on their show. I'm like, I have no idea who's running. What do you mean? I'm like, well, once I saw they stole the election, I knew right then and there, why would I waste my time on this emotional roller coaster? Because I'm believing their BS. Even if it's our side, quote unquote, fighting for us, it's a smokescreen. Both political parties, a smokescreen. I talked to a girl about going to CPAC again. I said, has that moved a needle ever? CPAC's been around forever. All these gatherings, all this business money, it's continuously keeping us focused on whatever message they want. Even they claim to be the good message. You know how you get your mind back? Disconnect from all of it. I'm the least read I've been in my life. I've been a voracious reader for decades since I graduated from college, read 1,000 books in 20 years. I don't even do that anymore. And I can't understand why. Like, you don't see me doing current events all the time on podcasts anymore. I'm talking about the angelic realm, about all these things are important. Why? It's what comes into my mind, because I shut that bullshit off. I shut it off. I don't have the drive anymore to look at this stuff, read all the articles on all this. And so because of that disconnection that I have now allowed to happen to myself, I'm finally connected. I never have a script for a show. Sometimes I know who's coming on my show, like really know anything about them. When I get on the show, I don't know much about them at all. I don't worry about it. I let the natural flow of the quantum realm, the Christ consciousness, guide and direct conversations, because I don't trust me. I don't trust what I know to make a good interview or show. I freelance everything. Why? Because I'm disconnected from that programming matrix to the best of my ability. And I just let life be what it's supposed to be. If we didn't have all this bullshit constantly going in our minds, what would you be like? What would your kids be like? Again, that's the fracture we have to create in this nation, to understand that tractor beam, even a computer, the phone, podcast. I mean, I even tell podcasters on stage at these big events, folks, you traded one form of entertainment for another. Now you're all podcast junkies. Stop watching podcasts, except Patriot Streetfighter, of course. Don't be stupid. But anyway, so you've got to let yourself be with the world, this planet, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, creation, God, all things created by God, source, Allah, whatever you want to call that too. I don't care. It is, allow it to be part of you. Shut off all this programming, because and that's, her book explains to you how we're all programmed. Once you break free of that, what you feel from the inside out, that's where your power comes. That's why I can be so in their face. People think you're so brave. I'm like, not really. I know these ice holes are in a death spiral. I'm punching them on the way down and having a blast. So anyways, I'm happier.
Scott, where can people put up on the screen where people can find Scott McKay?
Yeah, you can find it. Anything I do at patriotstreetfighter.com. Any social media, go there, because there's tons and tons of impersonators pretending to be me and ripping people off with QFS accounts and all this nonsense. If I don't say it on my channel that's connected to Patriot Street Fighter, don't believe any of these people. They're just criminals. Don't give them any money. I don't ask for donations, any of that stuff. Just if I say it and it's on my channel that's tied to my website, you're safe. Outside of that, you're dealing with somebody that's not me.
Yes, well, I guess the flattery is, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, the imitating Patriot Street Fighter. Yeah, anyway, well,
if they're looking to imitate me, they need to get a real life.
Well, let's put up the flyer one more time before we go. Open the heavens, let God arise. Ashley started in 2020 when I heard the voice of God say these words when I woke up. In California, the first state that shut down, saying, we won't shut up till you open up, open the heavens. And, when Jesus was baptized, because he had me do 7 baptisms along the Western seaboard. And then in 2023, he started saying, going to these different areas and literally opening the heavens over these regions, because it's a spiritual battle. We're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, mights, powers, and dominions. But we, the Bible, through Christ, we can do all things. So, you're going to talk about Jesus. I'm a Jesus person, Jesus, way, truth, and life. So, you know what, Scott, people, they have different ideologies. It's okay. You know what? We come together in unity and community, because that's what they're trying to do, is divide us. United we stand, divided we fall. We're after helping the children. This is the last thing I'll say, Scott and Cathy. A lot of people, when I came back from Thailand, people didn't want to hear about it. It was too hard to listen to. But, Jesus said, what you do unto the least of these, you do unto me. And he said it was better than a millstone where you're tied about your neck and thrown into the sea than to touch one of these little ones of his. And the problem is, Scott and Cathy, most people don't believe there's people this evil. They go, oh, there's nobody like that. Are you kidding me? There are. And you have to understand it, and the truth will set you free. And so right now, come to this event. It's May 8th and 9th. It's free. You can register for free, MeriCrowley.com. Get a VIP for only $177 before April 15th. Otherwise, it goes up to $197. Includes, meet and greet, also, VIP seating, and also a 4-star banquet lunch at the Ahern Hotel. There's actually a block of rooms too. They're very reasonably priced rooms, free parking, and no resort fees. So we hope that you come. It's going to be great. We've got some amazing people, including Cathy O'Brien and Scott McKay, as well as, we've got Sheila Holm and 107 will either be there or on the Zoom. And, Larry Ballard, Louis Herms, Mark Messina, he's going to do some stand-up comedy. We're going to show my film, Freedom Cry, in the afternoon. It's going to be incredible. Larry Ballard, a lot of people. It's going to be good. So go to the website, get more information, and we are going to see you hopefully in May, just in about 4 weeks away. So God bless you guys. Thanks for watching, and you can take that down. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on, you guys. It's 3 o'clock right now. Scott's got to get on another call. But God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. Please follow, share, like, and we hope to see you in Vegas. And what happens in Vegas isn't going to stay in Vegas. We're going to spread it to the world. So God bless you. We hope to see you in Vegas next month. See you soon.